Hi, I'm Rod Gilly. I believe this is going to be a pretty cool, interesting video, and I hope it will inspire more cool videos from those I've tagged. First, a very happy shout out to Jessica at Just Book Girl TV. She has really cool stuff, like a cool video where she went to a Stephen King tour at one of his houses. She does neat readings, cool TBRs, and nice reviews. I don't DNF books because it's not in my DNA is a pretty cool quote from the video that inspired the one I'm doing now. So let's get on with the pretty cool prompts in this tag. The first one is, how often do you DNF? And what makes you DNF? Well, I've got to say, I've only been keeping track using Goodreads actually for, I think it's less than 2 years. But in that time, I've only DNF'd one book. It's very rare. What will justify that is if I'm reading through a book and I get pretty close to halfway through it and I just can't get into it, or it's a tired trope, or if it's very, very poorly written, it would have to be pretty bad for me to DNF it. But it is something that can happen. But so far, I've only DNF'd one. So the next prompt is, do you rate books 1 star? I personally would never leave a 1 star rating on anybody's book. As a writer myself, I know how much work goes into writing, revising, editing, revising again, re-editing, and then what it takes to publish it, whether you go through the big five, a small press, or self-publish. All of the above takes so much effort that to me, a 1 star review is just an insult to the writer who has worked pretty darn hard to put that book up. So I would never leave a 1 star review. The second prompt is, what is a 2 star review for you? Well, for me personally, again, I would never leave a 2 star review. Much like a 1 star, I consider it to be an insult to the writer. If a book is really so bad that it would get a 1 or a 2 star review, I would probably just DNF it and be done with it. I wouldn't force myself to read the rest of the way through it. Just no point in doing that. So a 1 or a 2 star review, you'll never see me do that. So the next prompt is, a 3 star review a good book for you? Yes, I think a 3 star review should be considered a respectable review. I think any book that you find in a bookstore, on Amazon, or any other source, again, the writers put a lot of work and effort into it, and a minimum 3 star review if you're going to do a review at all. I think that is a very appropriate thing to do, just to show the author that you appreciate all the work and effort that that author did to produce that book for you. And I do think a 3 star review shows that the author did a pretty good job of writing it. Maybe may have had some editing problems or perhaps some plot holes. Hopefully nothing too severe, or it would have been DNF'd. So I think if a writer gets a 3 star review, they ought to feel that that's a pretty good review, not too bad. The next prompt is, what does a 4 star review mean to you? Well, for me, a 4 star review is a nearly perfect book. For a 4 star review, a writer would have to have good, strong character development. I'd have to have a good scene, good world building. A lot of it depends on, when I'm reading, can I visualize where the character is? Or does it seem like, a head floating in the air? So, it would have to have a good, solid world building and scene setting, good, strong characters, decent plot, good storyline. But if the book can do all that, it's a 4 star. Now, The only thing that keeps a 4-star from being a 5-star for me is if it's just got something in it that just didn't quite work for me. So the line between 4 and 5 stars is a very thin line between the two for me. So if I give a writer a 4-star review, I hope they realize that's a very high and very complimentary review. The next prompt is, do you give half-star ratings? As far as I know, Amazon and Goodreads at least don't do half-star ratings. So you pretty much have to leave a full star. And even if I figure up a book and come up with a half-star, I can usually round it up or down to make it accurate, but still, work for the systems that be. So I don't use half-star reviews because I don't think there's a place where you can. So correct me if there is a place. So I would always leave a full 3, 4, or 5-star review. Again, I would not leave a 1 or a 2-star review on any public site out of respect for the writer. Do you rate 5-star reviews very often? And what justifies that rating? What is it that makes them worth a 5-star rating? Well, for me, a 5-star book, 5-star story is when the writer really hit a home run. Good, strong character development, a good plot, good world building, and good settings. And then what differentiates it from that fine line between a 4-star and a 5-star? The 5-star exceeds expectation. When I read that book and I read through it and I'm enjoying it, I'm having a ball, no matter what genre it is, I'm enjoying the book. And at the end of the book, I close it and I'm like, man, that was a good book. I enjoyed that. When something in the book is just above and beyond, when the writer just nailed it, hit that something special, where you can remember parts of that book 6 months, a year later, you still remember it. A good example for me is Pet Sematary by Stephen King. Judd, still one of my all-time favorite characters. And the storyline, I can remember just about everything that happened in that story. That's a good example of why Stephen King is, well, the star that he is. Pet Sematary is a fantastic book. And I would definitely give it 5 stars, no doubt about it. Because again, it exceeded expectations. There were places in that book where I expected it to be a scary story, but there were places in that book where I got goosebumps on my arms. And again, the character development was unbelievably well done. The world building, the setting, all of that was just perfect. So there's a good example of what a 5-star book is for me. Again, 4-star, 5-star, extremely close. Little thin line in between them. If you want that 5-star, just do that little something extra, that little something that exceeds expectations. The next prompt is, has your method of rating books changed over the years? Honestly, I haven't been a writer or a YouTuber long enough to use the phrase over the years. I've been a writer just a little shy of 2 years, and on YouTube just a little over 1 year. So I can't really relate to over the years. So I have to just let that one go. And the last prompt that we have is, where do you record your ratings? Well, I record ratings on Amazon.com and on Goodreads. As far as I know, those are the best places for a reader to go find reviews and find books they want to read. I really like those. Of course, I think YouTube booktubers do a fantastic job of helping us find good books too. But I leave my reviews on Amazon and Goodreads, and then I do book reviews and story reviews on my YouTube channel. And of course, I'll leave the review and how many stars I think that story is worth there. Okay, well, that covers all the prompts that are in this tag video. Now I'm going to get to the list of booktubers that I would like to include, that I hope that they will do this tag video themselves, because I would be very interested in how each one of them rates their books and what criteria and where their limits are. I think that would be very cool to know how the different booktubers come up with the ratings that they give. So I'm going to put 10 different booktubers. I'm going to put their links down in the description, and you can certainly go check out their channels. They're awesome channels, really a lot of fun to go see what they do, because each one's got their own thing going on, and it's very, very cool. And if your name is not on this list and you're a booktuber, well, you feel free to go on and do this tag anyway. But these are some of the channels that I actually visit and really enjoy, and really would like to know how they come up with their ratings. So I'm going to read these off a list. We've got Cliff at Cliff's Dark Gems, Sin at Sin's Book Nook, MJ at Reading This Life, Tina at Sound and Fury Book Reviews. We've got Emily at Dark Violet Dreams. We've got Sam, the Expert Book Smuggler. Jay at J. Creighton Smith. Crystal at Fiber Artsy Reads. Danny at Danny Dabbles. And Katie at The Dark Side of the Library. Hope I said all those right. I'll certainly have the links down in the description so you can check out each of those channels. And if you're one of those booktubers on this list, please consider doing this tag, as I'll be eagerly waiting to hear how you come up with your ratings. Okay, well, this might be a little bit of a chunky video, but I've done the best I could with it. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you again. Have a wonderful day.